Samuel Okudzoto Ablakwa, who is Member of Parliament for North Tong. Thank you very much for your time. Good morning to you.
Hi, good morning, Senator. Thank you for having me.
I hope you're well.
Yes, I'm good. How about you?
I am also doing well. I realized there was a lengthy debate on whether or not that business that has been advertised for some time can be done within this period. And I also realized that your side, and you made that point abundantly clear at some point, that you are not in favor of that business being pushed, that all you need to do is pass the bill that allows the some expenditure to be made until the next budget is presented. Why can't these businesses be done at this time?
Well, thank you very much, and let me extend warm regards to the distinguished listeners of Radio Gold. The point has to be made that the Ghanaian people have sent a very clear message on the 7th of December 2024 when we went to the polls. The very things the MPP seeks to railroad in Parliament are the things that the Ghanaian people voted against. The Ghanaian people voted against economic mismanagement, reckless state capture, where the Akufo-Addo government selects cronies and gives them all kinds of favors, whereas the rest of us, the masses, languish in abject poverty, destitution, and suffering. It would be such a betrayal if after this clear message from the Ghanaian people, we in Parliament, we on the NDC side in particular, align, condone, or become complicit in the continuous perpetration of that kind of betrayal of the people. Look, Sana, these tax waivers that the Akufo-Addo government seeks to railroad in Parliament in this last hour, in the death of the administration, midnight of the administration's tenure, it will create a fiscal deficit, a financial hole in excess of $350 million. I must also emphasize that we do not know the criteria used in selecting these 46 companies. Now, these are companies which have benefited from a lot of contracts, single-sourced, opaque, dubious contracts from the Akufo-Addo government. These companies have the financial muscle to pay their fair share. They should pay their fair share in taxes. Why are they being treated specially? Why is a different dispensation being created for these crony, these nepotistic companies? We have had too much of this. You recall that not long ago, similar tax waivers went to companies belonging to the president's in-law, the president's brother-in-law, the Pullman Hotel scandal. We exposed that after those tax waivers, those financial support that came from GIF, after all of that money, they failed to invest the money in the hotel. As I speak to you, that hotel project has become a white elephant. Nobody knows where all of those monies given to the president's in-laws have gone to. So this is a government that has a track record of siphoning public funds, creating special dispensation that denies the country of revenues, and yet we do not see the benefit of these interventions. Look, as we speak, Senator, if these tax waivers under the so-called 1D1F initiative were working and making any positive impact, why is it that unemployment has worsened? Why has unemployment moved from 8% to 14.7%? Indeed, if you read the latest Afrobarometer, the Afrobarometer reveals that 41% of Ghanaians say that their biggest headache is unemployment. They don't have jobs. The few who are managing with some jobs are just, jobs that are not paying them what they are due. So this whole so-called 1D, 1F support, let's select crony companies and give them tax waivers. The track record shows that it has not yielded the industrialization, the job creation, which the Akufo-Addo government touted at the beginning of this program. As I speak to you, Sana, I am a member of Parliament in a constituency where all the government industries have collapsed. Afenyo factory has collapsed as I speak to you. Over 700 workers have been laid off, are at home, unemployed. Joapon Textiles has also collapsed. Over 1,000 workers have been asked to stay at home. The factory has been shut down. So, where is this industrialization taking place? Is it in mass? Is it in some cuckoo's land? Where? Why is it that despite all of these billions of Ghana cedis, there is no impact? So that is why we are insisting that we are not going to lend our support to any midnight tax waivers to crony companies. Look, Sana, if you go back to the president's first State of the Nation address, it is the same president who said that he is coming to office to deal with the canker of tax waivers. Go to that address. He said that tax waivers are denying the country needed revenue for development. So what has changed? And you see, these tax waivers, the corruption associated with this latest state capture, this hijack, the NPP's own Honorable Bukwating has joined us for many months to oppose these tax waivers. And you know what has happened to him? He has been removed as chair of the Finance Committee because he does not support the corruption, the naked rape going on under tax waivers. So look, after the Ghanaian people have delivered this clear verdict, we are not going to betray the Ghanaian people by agreeing to these tax waivers. In any case, there has been a long-standing principle that after elections, you do not saddle the incoming government with major decisions that will have far-reaching fiscal consequences. So what has changed? If you go through our Hansard, Sana, you will see key MPs like Osei Mensah Bonso, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, after elections, saying on the floor that it is most unfair for anybody to bring in major policy interventions, major loans, major, economic programs, which does not align with the priority of the incoming government.
Why not?
So
because their mandate expires on the midnight of January 6th. If they are still in power, why not? Why can't they do business?
They cannot do such business because it is the incoming government that will bear the brunt. Look, Sana, if you see the things that they have smuggled in this last minute, are you aware that they are seeking to commit Ghana to a $140 million Navy ship purchase? Again, it didn't go through our committees. The Speaker was not informed. The Speaker is not the one who even admitted the business. It was smuggled on the order paper. And the Speaker stated that yesterday that all of this is coming to his attention for the first time. It is not right. Do you know that, Sana, we had done work 8 years ago. We had finished work on the Right to Information Bill. President Mahama wanted it approved so he could sign it few days before leaving office. Oseche Mensah Bonsu and his colleagues insisted that they had chance with the incoming president. The incoming president says that he does not want to be saddled with that. He has his own ideas, his own perspectives about it. And so it was not signed. And this is just RTI. We did not have any major fiscal burden, any major consequence on the exchequer, on the public purse. And yet, we had to stay further action on the RTI law. So, why can't they abide by their own principles, by their own doctrines, which they have duly established? So, we are not going to agree. Fortunately, so many of them are licking their wounds. They are so embarrassed by the humiliation they have suffered at the polls because of their intransigence and their bad governance. So they are not even attending parliamentary business. So we remain the majority, and we have the numbers to stop these transactions. We are not going to accept this midnight smuggling of crony, corrupt, state capture interventions which would not inure to the benefit of the people. Look, Sana, if there has to be any work on taxes, any parliamentary intervention on taxes, the only people who must benefit are the masses, are the Ghanaian people. We will only collaborate with the MPP if the tax policy measures President Mahama espoused. You heard President Mahama say that there's too much suffering. The excruciating pain is just unacceptable. So e-levy should go. COVID levy should go. Betting tax should go. The emissions tax should go. You heard President Mahama clearly.
Yes.
These are the tax interventions that will benefit the Ghanaian people. Remember that Vice President Baumia made a U-turn when he saw how popular President Mahama's tax policies were. He made a U-turn that he also now supports the e-levy being scrapped. And this is after they had attended an e-levy party, baked an e-levy cake, insulted us right in our faces, and treated us with contempt. The people say they don't like a tax handle. We agitated, we demonstrated, we went to court. The more we said we didn't like it, the more they did it. And this is the first time in the history of Ghana and probably anywhere in the world where a government imposing an unpopular tax measure organizes an e-levy party. And all of them were there, Baumia, the First Lady, Samira, and all of that. Now, when they saw defeat staring at them in the face, they made a U-turn, aligned with President Mahama, that the obnoxious and nuisance e-levy should go. So, if they agree with President Mahama that e-levy should go, why are they not bringing e-levy in these last days for us to scrap it? Why are they rather selecting 46 crony companies? Only God knows what criteria was used. And they want us to come and rather ring fence, protect the elite, companies that can pay, and that should be paying their fair share after all the single source dubious contracts they have received. They don't want to pay taxes, but it is the masses who should continue paying e-levy, paying betting tax, paying emissions tax, paying COVID levy. Ghana is the only country in the world where after many, many months of WHO declaring COVID no longer a pandemic, we are the only country still paying a COVID tax.
Honorable.
So we are not going to accept this. We will not
because
allow
yesterday I watched the debate and I thought there was an agreement. Are you saying, because your side made the point, even your leader made that point, that you're not going to allow it, And it seemed the suggestion was that they should accept the business subject to the agreement on the floor. Are you saying the MPP is still insisting on pushing this business despite the opposition?
Yes, they are still insisting. Afenyo Markin says that he wants that to stay on the business statement so that when he has the numbers, he will immediately raise it and use his numbers to get it approved. We have insisted that it must be taken off. And look, yesterday the Speaker even offered very wise counsel that, look, let's select just 3-4 important items. And the Speaker listed them. The budget for the first 3 months of 2025 so that workers can be paid. The transition amendment bill, presidential transition amendment bill to allow for a smooth transition. Then we finish work on the Environmental Protection Act, and then we can consider this LI, the Galamsey LI, have it repealed. Very wise selection by the Right Honorable Speaker, which we all want to go with. But this Afenyo Markin-led reckless majority, which, by the way, is now a micro minority, a Sisyphean minority, they are insisting that they will have these tax waivers, this dubious 140 million euro ship purchase on the other paper and the business statement, so that when they have the numbers, they will raise it and have it passed. We are saying that that will be very, very negligent on our part to allow it to stay on the business statement. So we are insisting that it must be taken off totally. We have to agree that this House will not work on those items. To my shock, the majority side, the outgoing majority side, is saying that if we continue this way, then they are even going to say that let's not do any business at all. And Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh was one of those leading this, very irresponsible, argument that then let's just close shop and let's leave. And in the process, Ghanaian workers will suffer. I mean, why do you want to punish Ghanaian workers just because of your corrupt, dubious tax waivers? Why? So we are insisting that the Speaker's selection, the 4 items, key amongst them being the appropriation that allows for Ghanaian workers to be paid in the first 3 months. Because remember that there is no budget for 2025. And if we do not approve an expenditure in advance of appropriation to allow for workers to be paid in the first 3 months of 2025, it will mean that January, February, and probably March, public sector workers will not be paid. So that, to us, is the only urgent matter, the only important issue which should receive our attention. All these other, and you see, they've been trying for more than a year to have these over $350 million tax giveaways to their crony companies passed. And we have resisted. We have stood our grounds. We are not going to allow few days to our inauguration, when the Ghanaian people have roundly rejected these kinds of policies, we are not going to allow it to go through. What that will mean is that the clear message, the overwhelming mandate, the unprecedented defeat the MPP has suffered, it means that we are not learning lessons and we are slapping the Ghanaian people in the face. So we are not going to accept this.
Okay. So which means that debate on the business statement will continue today?
Yes. So what the Speaker did was to adapt the business statement based on the objections raised. taking into consideration our objection, it must reflect in the order paper, in the order of business. So when we go back to Parliament today, we don't expect to see these items on the order paper. If we see it, we will raise the matter and the debate will continue, and we will insist that it be expunged from the order paper so that it is not even featuring on the agenda for consideration at all.
Well, they will look forward to what to transpire in Parliament today. But Honorable, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning.
You're most welcome.
That's the Honorable Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, who's being re-elected to return to Parliament. So on the dawn of 7th December, when the new Parliament is sworn in, he will once again be among the chosen few who will be representing people from across the country on matters that are germane to the Ghanaian. Well, so always a pleasure talking to him. Now, so that's Parliament anyway. Do some business first. And of course, like I said, my guest in studio this morning, of course, Dr. Sharif Khalid Mahmood, who is an associate professor, finance and accounting, has a strong interest in corporate governance, has been in this country for some time now, throughout the electioneering and campaigning period.